We're doing it. We are live. Hey, good morning. Hey, this is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. It's about 8:10 a.m. in the morning, which I'm getting a bad habit of getting up like 3 hours later. No one has to, everybody's home. It's craziness. Anyway, hope you're doing well. My name's Greg Mester. I'm a Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a practical and tactical way. And get value to the customer, not work 60, 80 hours a week, and get home to your family and friends. Have some fun in the office and have some fun at home, right? That's our mission, is to get you home. Though I gotta put the mission board back up on the wall. I took it down the other day. Hope you're all doing well today. Today is Rocket Day. There's lots of rockets going off. Gonna keep an eye out on Texas if you're on YouTube. SpaceX, theoretically, knock on wood, will be launching their Starship, so we'll see how it works. And I wasn't necessarily going to go on today because I had my cameras and lights. I got one light upstairs because I'm still painting the rest of the house and trying to do the stairs, and lights all the way on the third floor, and I'm like, do I do it? But then, so Chuck Yeager passed away yesterday, and I wanted to do a show to honor his man. He's one of the guys they always ask you, who do you idolize, or who is your role model, or who do you look up to from a personality? And Chuck Yeager was always one of those people. And I highly recommend the autobiography of Chuck Yeager. If you want to know more about it, it's more to him than just breaking the speed of sound, though it was pretty amazing that he did break the speed of sound. They always concentrate on that episode, but he was a flying ace during World War II, got shot down over Germany a few times, came back, and they usually don't let them fly again, but because they don't want anybody to know that when the resistance, how they got you back from Germany, out of Germany, they don't want you to get captured and tell everybody how you got out. So, but they let him fly again. So he's one of the few people that they let him go back up because he was just so good. And then he had a big career of different things. So I want to talk about two things out of his career that I looked in his book that I liked that no one really talks about from an engineer perspective, and someone who does systems work and all that. It is very fascinating to me. The first thing I'm going to talk about, well, during the Korean War, the U.S. captured a couple MiGs, and what any group would do is they would, try to find out what the enemy aircraft can do, what they can do. So him and his engineer he worked with, they took the MiG, and this is the beautiful thing about Chuck Yeager, and I want to talk about why I wrote Know Your System, right? He was big on knowing your system and value, what really was a value, which is basically what we do in Agile Scrum and what to be successful. So he would analyze the vehicle, talk to the engineers, the really smart people. See, this is interesting. He didn't poo-poo the smart people in the room. He made really good friends with the smart people in the room that were always smarter than him, and he knew it. And he would ask him, well, how much thrust can you get out of this aircraft? What do you think it is? What do you think the limits are? What do you think its capability of? And he would analyze that and try to find out what the limits of the aircraft. So they would do dog fights out, I guess, in California or wherever they would do it, between the U.S. Jets that were coming out and the MiG. And there's always a thing, well, most pilots would just fly the MiG to what they could fly and what they're used to. He got to understand the MiG system, because think about it. Whoever's flying a lot would really know the boundaries of their vehicle a lot. So he would push the boundary and still beat the heck out of all the American pilots, even if he was flying the MiG versus the American jet. So, but he did that because he understood his system, how it operates, what the limits were, what the limitations are, and then he pushed it to the limits. Kind of like what we do with Agile and Scrum. Understanding the limits of your team and pushing them to those limits until you figure out how to make it better and faster. And then he would just dogfight everybody. So it's in his book. It's a great little story. There's little nuggets in this story about his whole career. So that was one. So knowing your system. So, and as an Agile person, any kind of person, to be honest with you, one, getting to know the real smart people in the room and befriend them and make sure that you're working alongside them is very important. And two, knowing your system, right? So you can know how far you can push the system. What can you do without blowing up like sprints, like backlogs, like commitments. Like if you overcommit, you're just going to blow it up anyhow. So don't do that. So that's one thing. And then the other story I really liked the story was during Vietnam. And guess what? There was Agile accountants in Vietnam too. Did you know that? There were Agile accountants. Yes, there were Agile accountants. The inspectors, right? The inspector generals or whatever they were. I don't know. I forgot what level he was. So he was in charge of this air base, and he had fighter bombers that would go over North Vietnam and drop the bombs. Well, look, it's like dropping software. Stuff happens, right? Stuff happens in life. Things don't go perfectly. These planes would come back with bullet holes in them because they were flying up, and I mean, just gonna happen, right? So stuff happens. They have, but these inspectors like, well, we expect you to have a perfect plane every time, no holes in it, actually total operation conditions and all that. And he's like, how am I going to do that? They're flying over, they're being shot at while they're flying over the enemy. So what does he do? Because these people would sit on the end and want to inspect the planes after they came back from their missions. They want to make sure they're in pristine condition. The Agile accountants are sitting on the other side of a hangar waiting for the plane to roll out, and they want to inspect it, make sure it looks good. So what he did, this is great, that outsmart the Agile accountants. So don't think your teams can't outsmart the Agile accountants when it comes to these metrics and games and stuff like that. They're very smart people. He would fly the plane in one side, and it had the bullet holes, right, into the hangar. And then also in the hangar was another plane. They would change the number on the brand new plane and roll it out the other side so that the Agile accountants would see a perfectly pristine plane. So he changed the tail numbers, and he passed his audit. Just saying. So these are the kind of stories of this guy who would just like, but you don't understand the value of what we're doing. You're just looking to inspect it, to make sure it's perfect, pristine condition. The value is that it's been out fighting and doing its job, and that's where the value comes. It doesn't come from the paperwork that says this is a perfect aircraft. So he understood value. The value is more in the combat and using of the airplane than it was sitting it in a museum quality piece of hardware. So those are the two stories from his book that I wanted to share with you today. And I hope they launched the SpaceX rocket in Texas today in honor of Chuck Yeager. I hope. I wrote down on Twitter. I think you should do it in Chuck Yeager. If it blows up or not, Chuck Yeager wouldn't care. The fact they are pushing the envelope and growing and knowledge and experiencing it and trying new things would make him happy. I have no doubt in my mind, because he always thought pushing the envelope, grabbing that little piece of information, how far can they go? How much can they push the envelope would just help everyone. So anyway, in honor of Chuck Yeager, just give him a thumbs up. One of my role models for just trying things, but he knew what he was doing. And I just want to say, he didn't try things just to screw up. He analyzed, understood the system, and then he did what he wanted to do. The same thing I would say, last thing about Agile and transformations. You can't just take Agile and throw it on anything you want. You have to understand how the system works in organization and find the best pieces of Agile to help make that company do what it needs to do, right? It's not a cookie cutter approach. You know, sometimes people like to we'll make this match anything you got. Some things work, some things don't. And you have to understand that. Most things work, though. I'll be honest with you. Scrum is a good thing. Anyway, have a good day. Enjoy your Tuesday. Happy scrumming. Don't forget, ring the little bell so you get notification when we go live and we put stuff up there. And I hope you all have an awesome, happy scrumming day. Take care. And bye. Maybe one day I'll figure this out. Bye.